Dear Lord, I really didn't think it was possible for Fortnite to get any worse since my last video, but every update since then has gotten worse and worse, and this most recent update, 7.01, is the worst update of all time in Fortnite's history. Now, honestly, I really hope that it remains to be the worst update of all time, because I really don't want to see a worse update than this. I think at that point I'll just uninstall, and honestly, I'm just scared to see what Fortnite has next in store. Like, what next items are they going to be adding? But anyways, what makes the patch 7.01 extremely horrible and makes it the worst is the fact that it didn't address any of the broken issues with the plane. So let's just dive right into this broken train wreck of an update. Now, there are many ways that the planes are broken, and quite honestly, I hesitated in making a video about them when they first came out because I assumed that they were going to address a lot of the issues with them and nerf them significantly. But I was wrong, and I had way too much hope in Epic Games, and they really failed to nerf a lot of the broken issues with it and what makes it so OP, and there are many issues with the plane. The first of which is that there is 100% spawn rate of them, which basically means that there's always going to be a plane at all of the locations that they spawn out, which is ridiculous and dumb because it's basically made it so that it's a strategy now, and a pretty valid one, to just land at the planes, fly into the nearest named location, shoot up all the buildings, or heck, you don't even have to shoot up all the buildings, you can just fucking nosedive right into them and not take any damage, and it's fine. And then with your plane, which is essentially a moving mounted turret, you can just annihilate everyone in that town or named location and take all the loot and just fly away to victory. I can't tell you how many games I've been in Pleasant, and there's always at least like a couple people that go to where the plane spawns, and then within a matter of seconds, not even like a minute into looting, I'll just hear all of these planes fly over my house or shooting at my house, and it literally feels like I'm in World War II or something with all of these planes just flying over and everything, and it's just ridiculous, and there's nothing that I can do to counter it, because like I said, it's within less than a minute of me looting, and usually at that point I have a gray pistol and some dynamite, or maybe a balloon, and there's not really much I can do with a pistol and dynamite against a flying plane that has a mounted turret on it, so it just feels incredibly unfair, and a lot of the items that you get early on in the game aren't effective towards the plane. I mean, a hunting rifle, that's basically useless, you might as well just chuck the rifle at the plane instead. Gray pistol, useless. The burst, useless. The only valid option are ARs like the gray AR or all the other rarities, the SCAR, and that's really it. And you're not always guaranteed to get those weapons, so it's almost a guarantee that whoever lands at the planes, if they're not horrible at piloting it, they're going to at least get 1 or 2 kills very early on from doing something that has no skill. Now, you'd think, given how I'm describing it, that it's extremely overpowered, it's essentially a flying mounted turret, that there'd have to be at least some punishment or consequence for using it. Well, you'd be wrong, because there's literally no consequence at all when it comes to using the plane. Now, you'd think that getting shot down from a plane and having it explode would probably kill you or severely injure you at very least. Well, nope. When they first released the planes, you took absolutely no damage, and you would just be able to glide at whoever shot you down, and probably mollywop them because you already took out half of their shield just from using the plane, and you are able to get high ground because you're gliding in, and it's just completely ridiculous. Now, after the update, to address this issue, and this was the only issue they addressed, they made it so that when you shoot down a plane, you take 25 damage. Yes, 25 damage. To put that into perspective, that's less than 1 bullet from a gray AR. So it's really insignificant, and it's basically a band-aid solution on a broken leg. I mean, not even a broken leg, probably a broken body, because Fortnite is literally falling apart at the seams. I mean, literally all of the streamers are complaining about the plane. And if you look at Fortnite's tweets, you're going to see a flood of people complaining about the planes. Now, there are a few supporters of the plane, which I don't know how you can support it. It's really stupid given what I've said already, but these supporters will argue that you can counter the plane, all you have to do is build, which is incredibly stupid because, like I said earlier, these planes can literally plow through buildings. It doesn't matter if you build, they're just gonna fly through or shoot through your builds. It doesn't matter at all. And when these kamikaze planes fly through, they don't even take any damage. Another example of how there's literally no consequence of using these planes. You can fly into basically anything and take no damage. There's a few times that you can take damage in the plane, but it's very rare and very finicky that it doesn't really matter. Now, another thing that people say who support the plane, will just shoot the plane down. Like I said earlier, they don't really take that much damage from you shooting it down, and you have to waste a bunch of bullets, and also, that's under the assumption that you're only dealing with the plane. As soon as you start shooting at the plane, you're calling attention to yourself, and other people are going to start fighting you while you're trying to take down this plane. And all of a sudden now, you have multiple people coming at you, and it's just ridiculous, and a fucking vehicle coming at you as well. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you shoot them down, it doesn't give them much damage. And ultimately, shooting at the pilot itself isn't an option either. I mean, sometimes you can get lucky with the bloom and get a couple shots that hit the pilot themselves and not just the plane, but it's pretty rare. And the average Fortnite player definitely cannot kill a pilot in a plane. I mean, the average Fortnite player can barely even shoot someone when they're gliding in the air, let alone a moving vehicle where only half of the body is showing of a person in midair. So it's pretty unlikely that people can just shoot out the pilot or shoot out who's on the plane, and it's just completely ridiculous, and it's just so fucking overpowered. There's no consequence to using it. You can literally do anything in the plane. It's a mounted turret that's flying around, and it's just utterly ridiculous. And now that they've patched it and they've been told that it's broken and this is all they do, I have literally no hope in them doing anything to fix the planes. But this update doesn't stop there. No. Instead of fixing the issues with the plane, they decided, you know what? How about we fix the issues with the plane by covering them up with another broken item? The new item in this update was the Infinity Blade, or as I like to call it, Thanos 2.0. Now, thankfully, they vaulted this piece of crap addition, but the fact that they vaulted it so quickly honestly proves that this update was one of the worst updates of all time in Fortnite's history. I mean, I can't think of a time where an item was vaulted this quickly, or where the community was so unanimous in hating it. Usually, even if it's a horrible update, there's always at least some fraction of the community that supports it, and they're like, actually, it's not that overpowered, and you can counter it by doing this, and you know what? I love Fortnite, and they always have the best updates, so you can just shove it. You're just not good at the game. But literally no one was saying that type of stuff. Everyone was unanimous in saying that this update wasn't it, and it was just horrible. But now that Fortnite vaulted it, everyone's just hopped back onto the Fortnite dick, and they're all just like, oh my god, Epic Games always listens to their consumers. I mean, sure, there's still turrets in the game, and there's still that stupid-ass plane, but I love it, so, you know, they always listen to the consumers. Even though they obviously don't. I mean, this was the only time that I feel like they've really listened, and it was because they couldn't not listen. I mean, I'm sure the player numbers were dropping. I mean, it was unplayable. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's good. You know, I'm not gonna discredit that. It's a good thing that it was vaulted. Don't get me wrong. But let's not hop over onto Epic's cock and be like, oh yes, like they were the best. They always listen when they clearly don't. I mean, I don't know. I would say like half of the community hates the planes and they aren't listening to them, and they barely nerfed it, and you know, the turrets as well. But whatever. I guess this is one victory for Epic Games. They finally did something right. Yahoo. But regardless, 7.01 was the worst update of all time. The planes didn't get properly nerfed, and then they had to remove an item so quickly because it was so bad. And I'm honestly really worried because in the tweet that they said that they were vaulting the Infinity Blade, it said mythic items, and that means that there's going to be other future Infinity Blade type items in the game, which is really disturbing, and I think they should learn their lesson and just not go through with that. So I can't say that they've really learned their lesson when in their own tweet they're saying, well, we vaulted this item, but there's gonna be future items like this, so hee. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see in the future. I really hope they learn their lesson completely and don't do something dumb like this ever again, but I really don't know. My suggestion would be that if they're gonna have mythic items, they make it so it's a limited time game mode. I mean, that would be pretty fun if there's like a bunch of different types of swords, there's Thanos, like all these different types of items, and just, you know, clashing with them. That would be fun, but not in the core game. I don't think there should ever be a mythic item because then it makes it so it's not a fair battle royale. But yeah, anywho, that'll be in the future and I'll be complaining about it then when it happens. So for now, I'm glad they vaulted it, but they still have so much more to do. And yeah, that about does it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. Also, comment down below how you feel about the planes and what you think they should do to fix it. I personally think there should just not be a turret on the plane. I think it would be a good mobility item, and it still allows you to glide down and, you know, glide onto someone and kill them. So it's already still overpowered in that sense. So I don't know. I feel like the turret is kind of unnecessary and just unfair. But yeah, let me know what you think, and subscribe if you're new. Also, hit that bell. I'd greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time.